Hey everyone, welcome to this video where we're going to start talking about Regular Expressions 101. Regular expressions are coded patterns that can be used to search for matching patterns in strings. These expressions are commonly used to validate the data that is entered by users. For this course, we'll be using simple regular expressions to validate user input forms. Regular expressions are usually referred to as RegEx. Although they're often used in conjunction with JavaScript, we'll be incorporating these into our HTML with our pattern attribute. First, I want to walk through this Regular Expressions 101 website. It's a really great website that helps you to test regular expressions. I'm going to go through each one of these sections one at a time to show you how this works. Over here we have the flavor panel. This box is here because there's different languages that you can use, and each one is going to have a subtle idiosyncratic difference that can be troublesome. So for us, we want to use the JavaScript or the ECMA script. That is using our browser's native implementation, so make sure you have this selected before we move forward. Next, I'm going to show you the regular expressions box. This is where we're going to be putting in our regular expressions that we want to have tested. Notice this little GM? These are regular expression flags that we can set. We already have the global and the multi-line selected. We'll talk about the multi-line in a little bit once we start going through what the caret and the $sign are for. Next to that, we have this copy button. Anytime that we insert our regular expression and we want to use that regular expression somewhere else, we can use this copy button. For example, what if I just wanted to copy this text? Now all I have to do is just paste it. Next, I want to talk about the test string box. This is what we're actually going to be comparing with our regular expression to test to see whether or not our regular expression is working. We'll be using the regular expression and the test string box the most on this page. But the other three panels that I want to cover next are probably the most helpful and important, starting with the explanation box. The explanation is going to break down every single thing that we're entering in and tell us exactly how it works. Now for right now, I don't have anything in my regular expression. Once I do though, you'll be able to see exactly how these regular expressions work. The next one, the match information box, this is telling us exactly what is getting matched in our test string. This is really going to be our test for whether or not what we're looking to search for has been returned. And I'm going to toggle closed my explanation box and my match information box to talk about the quick reference box. This is an excellent guide to let us know when we're searching for something specific where we can look. If you're looking for anything where a test string starts with a certain value, or something with a number, something with a letter, or maybe something with a space, let's try that. In our search reference, I'm going to type in space. That's going to return all of the options that we have. In this case, we have three options. Any white space character, any non-white space character, or any non-word character. And you'll notice it also gives us exactly how we would type that in for our regular expression. Let's try testing out some different strings and going through some examples. I'll open up this match information and this explanation box one more time. Now if you're following along, make sure you are using the JavaScript flavor. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to type into our test string the words "Hello World." This is indicating what it is that we're going to be testing against. In our regular expression, I can enter in, let's say, a capital W. Notice that the W in Hello World is highlighted in blue. This is because it matched our regular expression. If we're not sure, take a look into our explanation box. It specifically tells us that W matches the character W. Literally, and it's case sensitive, meaning if I changed my W in Hello World to a lowercase w, it will no longer match. Let's try it. Now you can see in my match information, our regular expression does not match the subject string. So in JavaScript, a regular expression begins and ends with a /, and you can see in our regular expression box, they've already added that for us. And it's so important to note, regular expressions are case sensitive. This is going to play into a lot of the things that we do. Let's move on. I want to first talk about the caret. Now the caret specifies that the pattern must be at the start of the string. If I add the caret symbol to the beginning of our regular expression box, notice that there won't be a match anymore because W is not at the start of the string. Let me put this back to a capital W. And now I'm going to add that caret. You can see in my explanation that it asserts we're looking at something at the start of a line, and you can see in our match information, our regular expression isn't a match. If we change the text in our test string to be the word world, we would have a match. For example, let me remove hello. Now we have one match, a capital W, at the start of our string. The $sign is the next one. The $sign specifies that the pattern must be at the end of our string. So let's add the $symbol to the end of the regular expression. Now what we're saying is that the caret asserts the position at the start of the line and the $sign asserts the position at the end, meaning our test string has to start with a capital W and end with the capital W. I'll put hello world back in my test string. Now the only way I'm going to get a match in my regular expression is if my regular expression is hello world. Now we can start looking at what kinds of things we can match. The first one is we can match digits. We can look for digits in our string using a bracketed range of 0 through 9. We also have the option of using that backslash and a D. Let's start with a range of 0 to 9. We indicate a range by using square brackets. This time we're saying a range between 0 and 9, and that's inclusive, so it includes the 0 and it includes the 9. In my test string, I can enter in any digit, and I'll get a match. We can do the same thing or accomplish the same thing using the backslash and the D. Notice that this matches a digit equivalent to a range of 0 through 9. And the explanation that we had for the 0 through 9 is that it matches a single character in a range of 0 through 9. If we wanted to match a certain range of numbers, we could change the regular expression to the appropriate range. Let's say we wanted to only match between 1 and 3. Our regular expression would accept the numbers 1, 2, and 3. We have a 7 in our test string, so we don't have a match. We can change it, and now we do. But we don't just have to search a range. We can use commas to indicate that multiple numbers are accepted, just not in a certain range. For example, what if I wanted 4 or 8 or 0? Notice that my 3 doesn't match anymore, but I can use a 0 and that does match. I can also mix and match these together where I put in a range or a comma-separated list of values to match on. What if I wanted to have 2 through 5 and 7 and 0? Now we can see that 2 through 5 matches a single character in the range, or we can have 7 or 0. So basically 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 0 are acceptable. I already have a match, but let's put one in that doesn't match. Let's say 8. And now you can see we don't get a match. We could do the same thing using the backslash D, but that's just matching all of the numbers from 0 through 9. Let's move on to letters, because we can also match alphabetical characters. We'll change our expression to include a range of letters. We'll say A through Z. Now these are lowercase because this is a case sensitivity thing. So we can also include uppercase, so I'll put uppercase A through uppercase Z. And if you take a look at our explanation box, it's giving us exactly what we can match on. Any lowercase or uppercase letter. We could restrict to matching just the lowercase letters by using just the lowercase A through Z, or the uppercase just by using the uppercase A through Z. And we can also restrict matching specific letters by specifying those letters in the brackets. The same way we created a range with numbers, we can create with letters. For example, what if I only wanted capital A through capital C? Now the only value in my test string that will match is an A, B, or C. We get a match on a capital A, we don't get a match on a lowercase h. And similar to the way we did it with numbers, we can mix and match this logic. So let's say we wanted to have a range of lowercase r to lowercase t, but we also want to include the uppercase F and the uppercase H. So in our test string, let's try putting in a lowercase s. And we get a match. So far, we're just matching one letter at a time, but we can match multiple digits or letters. We do this by using curly braces. We'll change our regular expression so that we can allow for any digit 0 through 9 as long as it's 3 consecutive digits. We'll use backslash D and we'll use a quantifier of 3. We can always check that explanation too to double check that what we're trying to do is exactly what we're trying to do. So you can see that the backslash D matches a digit 0 through 9, and that 3 is saying it has to be 3 times. So in my test string, I could put in, let's say a 7, but I won't get a match, another digit, let's say a 6, and I won't get a match, and then another digit, 8, and now suddenly I have a match because I have 3 consecutive digits. We could also use that range of 0 through 9. Let's say we wanted to have any 5 letters, whether they're uppercase or lowercase, they just need to be 5 consecutive letters. So we'll do uppercase and lowercase, and then for our quantifier, we'll use 5. Let's put in 5 letters for our test string, and we have a match. We can also combine letters and numbers. We can do a mix and a match. Let's change our regular expression, and then create a test string to produce a match. So evaluating this particular regular expression, we need to come up with a test string that's going to match on 2 numbers, exactly 2 consecutive numbers, and then any combination of 5 letters, whether uppercase or lowercase. 2 numbers, 5 letters. I'll try another test string. Let's break this one down. Starting at the very beginning, we have a range of 1 through 4, so we can use the numbers 1, 2, 3, or 4. But then we have a quantifier of 2, meaning we must have 2 digits between 1 and 4. The very next portion of this regular expression is just the number 7. That means we need to match the number 7 literally. Nothing else will do. In the last portion, we're looking at a range of capital A through capital D, and we need 5 of those as our quantifier. And that returns a positive result. We have a match. Let's talk about the vertical bar. This allows the pattern to match 2 or more acceptable patterns. Let's say, for example, we have a pattern, and we use the vertical bar in between 2 different options. Take a look at the explanations. We have what's called a first alternative and a second alternative, meaning everything before the vertical bar is our first alternative. So we can either match 2 digits in consecutive order, or to the right of our vertical bar, we can match 2 letters, uppercase or lowercase. Either one of those will return a match. Let's start out with 2 letters, and we have a match. How about 2 numbers? We have a match. How about 1 number and 1 letter? We don't have a match because they do need to be consecutive. Let's try one more example on the vertical bar. This time, as I type it in, I'm going to explain what I'm doing. So we need the number 3, or we can also match a range of 5 to 7, but I need to have 2 of those consecutive. So here's my quantifier. So we can either match the number 3, or we can match 2 numbers between 5 and 7. And I shouldn't say between 5 and 7, because remember our range is inclusive, so it would be the number 5, 6, or 7. So we'll test 3, that one matches. Then we can test 5, 6, 7, and that should match. Let's test one that doesn't match. 4 doesn't match. How about 5? Not a match because I need 2 of them. 5, 5, that's a match. Let's move on to the question mark. We can create an optional match by ending our expression with a question mark. So let me remove this test string, and I'm going to look for 5 digits, and I'll put in a set of parentheses and a range of lowercase a through c. Now I'm going to add that question mark, and I'm going to toggle closed my quick reference because I want to show more of the explanation box. You can see that it's referring to something called the capturing group. That's because we're using parentheses. So while we have to absolutely have 5 consecutive digits, our capturing group of lowercase a through c is telling us it's optional whether or not we add that to the end. If we don't add it, we'll still have a match. If we do add it, we'll still have a match. Let's give it a shot. There's our match, and now if I add a letter, we're still matching. But notice in our match information, we now have 2 things that we're matching on. If I change out my lowercase a for something that won't match, let's say a lowercase g, I'm not going to match anywhere in my string. This entire string now won't be a match. I can remove the lowercase g, and I have a match. So that question mark is making it optional. Just make sure that you have your optional expression be surrounded by parentheses. So I'm going to end this video right here, and I'm going to pick this up in our next video where we talk about how this works with HTML using the pattern attribute. But if you have any questions on regular expressions so far, please don't hesitate to ask.